What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to PlayStation Generation episode 46. My name is Matt, and I'll be your host for today's events. I'm joined, as always, by the PlayStation Hokage himself, Mr. Rice. Boy, what's up, Rice?
Wow, thank you so much for that intro. Good to see you, everybody. I'm doing well. Yeah, it's good to be here.
Good to see you, my dude.
I did dishes today.
Dude, me too. I literally just came down from doing dishes. Were you doing dishes like 10 minutes ago?
Yes.
So in like I don't remember what movie it was. So we're gonna roll with this here for a second. But you know in that one movie when they're like, when I look up at the moon, do you see the same moon? Was that The Notebook? We're gonna say it was The Notebook.
We're gonna just say
was that Charlotte's Web, actually?
Is it actually Charlotte's Web?
If it is, that would.
No, I have no idea.
Okay. That'd be incredible if it. That would be incredible if it was. But it's like when I looked up at the dish, I know you were also looking at the dish, Rice.
Yes, absolutely.
Feel that in my soul.
It was a kindred moment.
A kindred moment, exactly. I just felt your presence while I was in that dish, fist
absolutely.
Deep.
Deep, fist deep,
deep. Ooh,
As we all go. I wash my dishes fist first.
I don't think there's a better way to bring in our guest today. Some know him as the Katamari Damacy degenerate. Just a man of many places, of many things. Anybody who's hung out with me long enough knows that Darren and I were back on the Burnout Brighter podcast together many moons ago. Darren's here to hang out with us today. What's up, Darren?
It's good to be here. Thanks so much, Matt. I know you've interviewed a lot of important guests in the past, like, Yuri Lowenthal and everything. And I'm super happy that you brought me on, the most important guest you've had so far.
Yep, which is why today. I'm
really happy to be here.
That's the end of today's show. It's just going to be us for the rest of the day. I'm very, very stoked to have Darren joining us. It's a perfect day because again, any longtime listeners know Darren and I used to do a show called the Burnout Brighter podcast. It was the two of us and Destiny Cleveland, who you can now see at on Black Voices of Gaming. You can see her on Games for Games. You can see her on the Level 1 podcast. Very busy, incredible woman. But back in the day, we talked a lot and gave Darren a lot of shit for building a lot of roads and bridges in Death Stranding. And today we're going to be talking about Death Stranding 2. We got some hot breaking news in the last couple hours. We're going to be talking about some split fiction, and we're going to be talking about...
I got my bridges sticker ready.
Darren's... And I hear, folks, that he is going to put that straight on his cheek by the end of the show. So prepare thyselves. We have a whole lot going on today. But before we get into all that, let's kick things off with what's been keeping us busy. What have we been playing, folks? Darren, let's start with you as our honorary guest. What have you been playing lately?
Well, as all longtime listeners know who have heard of me, I'm a little slow to get around to games. I got a backlog. So right now I'm playing Tomb Raider 2 from 1997. That's where I am at in my backlog. The Tomb Raider 4 to 6 came out in February. I played the first game in the remaster, and I've seen that come out. I'm like, I still haven't finished the other two, so I'm playing Tomb Raider 2 right now. And is it weird to find that game relaxing? I don't know if either of you have ever played any of the OG Tomb Raider games before.
I feel like I did, like, way back in the day, like when I didn't know what I was doing, and I just remembered getting really I feel like we can chain back my memory of hating puzzle and adventure games back to a young Matt trying to play Tomb Raider, getting really mad and never playing them again. I have not played them since then, though. Rice, I don't know if you have any love for the OG Tomb Raider series.
Let's first operationally define relaxing, and like what. I mean, like when I first played it, I was quite young, so it wasn't as relaxing. If I were to revisit it now after my like plethora of experiences in gaming, I think that I would agree that it would be relaxing comparatively. But the first time I played it, I was quite stressed just because I was learning adventure games and figuring that out at the time. Plus, it was just different.
Well, it's also a game that you just don't know where you're going, like 90% of the time. All the walls look the same and all the platforms look the same. And like Tomb Raider 2 is very interesting compared to Tomb Raider 1 because they've introduced human enemies way more frequently. So you're constantly being shot at and unable to shoot back because of the tank controls. Although I'm playing with the modern control scheme, but just constantly dying, constantly falling off cliffs, constantly getting lost. I did a level called The Deck yesterday, and it took me 2 whole hours to finish that goddamn level because the entire ship looked the same. But I said it was relaxing, and it's relaxing.
Waypoints have spoiled us, eh? Like,
They
I
have.
mean, navigation systems have definitely improved over time, but that I think that was part of the stress too, is that sometimes you would get stuck in an old game and you were just like, where the fuck do I go next? This is
And there's
2 hours later.
no way to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, just and I'm stubborn. I'm like, I don't want to look it up. I want to find all the secrets too. So like I will play for 30 minutes, realize I missed a secret, reload, lose 30 minutes of progress, go wander around, and then fall into a pit of glass and die. But there is something kind of like meditative about how like deliberate she moves and the way that she climbs objects and like lining up the perfect jump to run into a side flip, then to go into like a ledge hang so you can like it's like QWOP but better to control, and doesn't suck.
I completely accept that explanation. See, that's all I needed to get to is why, and that was
there you go.
See, it always kills me because Dan's the type of person who does these things, and then after might message me once in a blue moon will say, I don't know why I just put myself through 27 hours of that, but I did. And it's like, all right, you could have been playing Ghost of Tsushima, you could have been playing anything else, but no, Tomb Raider. Listen, if you're enjoying it, to each their own. Whatever pointy boobies you want to be looking at, that's fine with me. Okay.
Polygons.
I know. I'm sorry.
Polygons. Rest, my boy. What's been keeping you busy?
I'm embarrassed.
Hit me.
I've still been like diving into Destiny as the bug has gotten back into my blood, and so I've been
long-time player
that out. Long time since the dawning of Destiny 1. So it's kind of like that loyalty, I guess, to the franchise, no matter what state the franchise is in. But I'm having fun. I'm having, like you say, if you're having fun, you're kind of just doing it. And so that amongst some just other kind of mindless games like Call of Duty Zombies with my sister.
Nice.
And some Fortnite. So all well, all I don't know what it is. This past week has just been shooters. It's been stressful.
Dude.
Not to derail the conversation. Quick question.
Yeah.
Where are we in Destiny? Are we in a dark age? Are we in a bright age? Are we recovering? Are we sliding? What's going on in Destiny?
So I would say that after a 10-year saga that has wrapped up, it's cleanup. It's cleanup. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening as a result of the big finale. And the Vanguard is now just cleaning up some parts of the universe that are trying to plot into other things. And as Bungie kind of moves into a different way of storytelling, kind of more bite-sized things, it does make sense. So we'll see how long it lasts.
Well, I'm glad that it's still keeping you busy. I know you have so much love for the series, and I'm glad that it's. Listen, I know things have been stressful. I know things have been a lot, so I'm glad that you have an outlet for yourself.
Thanks, my guy.
To chill out a little bit and to shoot some stuff. As for myself, I have been completely fucking obsessed with Split Fiction. I cannot stop playing it. My review, well, not my review. I made a video review for Aaron's review, who's over on But Why Though, so go peep that. There's plenty of content here on Console Creatures as well on it. The game is incredible, like genuinely amazing. I didn't really have any doubts coming into it, but I think this could end up taking a higher, I think this might be Hazelight's best game. Period.
Ooh, nice.
Gameplay is just so
Really?
varied. It just keeps changing up on you constantly in a really good way. So like my wife, who I'm playing with, my wife, isn't
Mala.
isn't a gamer. She doesn't really, she'll play things once in a while. We've played through A Way Out. We played through It Takes Two. So this was like on our radars. And like if the things that where she might get stuck or frustrated, they don't live long enough in terms of like we're not in them for long enough that she gets angry. She'll just kind of get frustrated. Sometimes she'll throw the controller at me, and I'll kind of get her through that section and we continue on. But like it's amazing. The story, I will say, is better. I still don't say I still think it's good, but it's better than whatever It Takes Two was. I was just talking to Darren about this actually yesterday or the day before, and I was saying how I wanted to put that stupid book from It Takes Two in the fire. I wanted to, if I could punt that thing across the ocean straight into a volcano, I would without a second thought.
Punt that. Oh, man,
I don't hate
I
much,
don't know.
but I hate that.
I hate that book. I am a generally pretty positive person, but that book and its collaboration can do terrible things to itself. Exactly. And it's just I think it might be the best co-op game I've ever played. I'm just gonna say it.
That's awesome.
I just think for like the way
Wow.
this game comes together, how varied each size is, and like don't get me wrong, there's been stellar co-op in the past. We're talking obviously the Halo, the Gears of War. There's been so many incredible, like I would say largely shooter campaigns, shooter co-op campaigns along the way. This does the shooting stuff and it does more. Like it's just
hell yeah,
so incredible in what it sets out to do and how it accomplishes it. Like I said, the story is still cheeks, to quote my boy Savoy Prime. The story still sucks, but like but I gotta say, like, the gameplay is so good, and I'm gonna actually bring in our first story because I seemingly am not alone on this, because coming from Forbes, Split Fiction is putting up stunning user scores and player count numbers. It is hard to understand just how badly people seem to want to return, at least at times, to an era of co-op games that can either A, be played on a couch with a physical person next to you, or B, are co-op and don't involve trying to win battle royales or team matches. Enter Split Fiction. It has currently, as of the time of writing this, which was earlier today, has gone to 258,720 of an all-time peak on Steam, which is wild, which is
that's crazy,
absolutely massive. It is, I think, the 5th most played game on Steam right now, behind CS2, PUBG, Dota 2, Monster Hunter Wilds, and then Split Fiction.
Damn.
A story only, co-op only game putting up numbers like this. It's also one of the top games on PlayStation. And It Takes Two only peaked at 71,000 players this past December. So clearly, people are looking for this kind of experience. People are here. They're playing. It's fantastic. I also want to shout out Joseph Ferris. He did this thing. I saw him doing some video where like somebody was in his comments on a live, and they called Split Fiction woke because it stars two women, and he flat out said, our first game, Brothers, was two boys. Our next game, A Way Out, was two boys. Our last game was a man and a woman. This game is two women. Fuck off. Like that's just
honestly, bro.
So like I have to ask both of you, Darren. I know you've just recently been playing It Takes Two. What about these games do you think makes these co-op just so special? Because I think it is.
You know what? It's really, I feel like it's just the gameplay variety in these games. Like I never played A Way Out, so I don't know really what that is. But just from playing It Takes Two, and Split Fiction looks similar, is every single level, everything you do is just some brand new idea. Something that's just like keeping it exciting and fresh. And I also think just the messaging behind the game of this is a game, play it with a friend, and you're going to have a good time. And, doing things like the friend pass, so you get like a copy of the game for free, basically. It's just this like perfect storm of goodwill and just like excitement and joy. And like I called It Takes Two a game with the worst story that I've ever enjoyed. Because it's just like who gives a crap? Like you're just having so much fun. You don't care.
Yeah.
Rice, have you played It Takes Two? Or are you playing a Split? Okay,
I played A Way Out.
Okay,
have not played Split Fiction yet, but this is like something that I've been waiting for because and like Darren said, like there's something interesting. It keeps you invested because of that like newness of gameplay. It's fresh every time.
Mhm.
Like there's when you're exploring a level or whatever, there's something new to do. It doesn't feel like things are recycled. It was very creatively presented.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, like even if a story is ass, if the gameplay is very, very engaging, it really does kind of keep drawing you in, right? Because, like, first of
It
all,
Takes Two is
um,
Miyamoto's wet dream.
Yep. Mhm.
yeah, and like you can invite someone who doesn't necessarily game, and that's the whole idea. Is like, hey, let's do this together. It will be kind of like this really fun activity, and it's not something that like. Yes, you might get frustrated, like you were saying, your partner were going through, but it is part of that kind of couch experience, and
Mhm.
even if you are playing with someone online. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I just think that like it's just so creatively cool, and for a game that like you have to play it co-op. There's
Yeah.
no choice. There's no
Yeah.
online matchmaking. The personalness like
Yeah.
of it, like whether you because you have to play with either somebody like you said, somebody on the couch, or even if you're playing online, it's somebody that you care enough about that you're
Mhm.
like, let's commit to this 15 to 20 hour experience together and let's roll through this. I just I think this is just amazing. I want to see more co-op come back, especially more couch co-op.
Mhm.
I'm kind of shocked that we haven't seen more like It Takes Two copies. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like especially
Right.
because it's been around
Yeah.
for long enough now that like I'm kind of shocked we haven't gotten more of that type of game just
Agreed.
across the board. Um, do you think that, and again, I understand that neither one of you have played it yet, but just knowing that It Takes Two won, do you think that this could take Game of the Year this year? Do you think it has a chance? Do you think it's in the conversation? Rice, what do you think?
I think so. Right. I think that it's charming,
Mhm,
and that there is this element of nostalgia too, right? I know that
mhm,
we're talking about the online multiplayer elements, but like couch co-op was something that we like it was endeared. It was something that was celebrated. It was something that we did quite often, and it brings back memories.
mhm.
And I think that that's what this is generating, right? Like the moments that you remember. It's like, remember that time we played that stupid ass game, but we like struggled through this level?
Yeah.
That was friggin'
Yeah.
hilarious. And so that experience, I think, makes it a worthy contender. We'll see, though. We'll see how the year
Yeah.
progresses. I think it's a little early, but still, I would love for it to be at least make some waves.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be in contention. Like
Mhm.
that's gonna be the interesting thing. Darren, what do you
Yeah,
think?
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think it'll definitely be in contention, especially if like the reviews are as true as they say they are, and the
Sure.
game is like that good. Like if It Takes Two was in the running, I don't see why Split Fiction couldn't be. And like, I mean, not to be a Nintendo fanboy, but the Switch 2 is allegedly supposed to come out this year as well. So we'll have to like wait and see. Maybe Nintendo's going to throw out like an Odyssey 2 or something that could
You can
also,
be a
Yeah.
fanboy, by the way.
like, yeah. Oh, thank you, thank you. I have been so worried about that my whole life. I'm like, no one is persecuted more than gamers. So
Specifically Nintendo
being a
fans.
fanboy was specifically Nintendo fans. So like, yeah, it's early in the year, but like, I would kind of be shocked if it wasn't nominated,
Yeah.
at least
Right.
nominated for Game
I
of the
mean,
Year.
with It Takes Two winning its year, I think you're right. I think the Switch 2 is definitely a something to kind of keep their eye on. But
Mhm.
another potential contender, moving on into our next story. Breaking news just as of literally 3 hours ago at time of recording. Sorry for the PlayStation blog, but Death Stranding 2 on the Beach launches June 26th, and the collector's edition has been revealed. There was a panel at South by Southwest today. Kojima was on stage joined by some special guests, and they did a whole thing. There is a 10-minute,
Mhm.
10-minute, 10-minute
10.
pre-order trailer. And through watching that 10 minutes, I still could not tell you what the fuck is going on in this game. I have absolutely no idea, but I am here for it. We also got some collector's edition stuff. There's a statue, there's a box, there's some digital deluxe stuff. There's a whole lot of stuff here. Darren, I'm actually very glad that you're here today because, as we mentioned at the top of the show, you are a big Death Stranding fan. I'm gonna let this. Okay, you're really gonna do this to me? I was
Oh,
born in
wow.
Matt, are you 18?
1900. I was born on January 2nd, 1901. Let me in. I'm gonna let this run while we talk here. But Darren, you are you know, I came to love Death Stranding, but you kind of
Yeah.
loved it out the gate. How are we
Yeah,
feeling about what we
I'm
saw
the
today?
world's biggest Death Stranding fan. No one in the world is bigger fan than me. Um, you're all liars if you think you are. But I no, I honestly, I'm super excited for it. Like I watched it. I almost kind of regretted watching the trailer because it feels like it shows so
Quite a
much.
bit.
Like all the different environments and all the different like enemies and everything. Like it's wild stuff. I think that the other thing is, it's kind of funny. We just talked about It Takes Two being like a game with one of the worst stories that I ever enjoyed. If there was a number 2 on that list, it would be Death Stranding 1. Death Stranding is, it's got this like really, really, the story's so good. And then the last hour, it just gets so off the deep end into the beach that like you don't, I don't know. I really did not like the way the game ended, but I didn't care because I think with Death Stranding 1, the expectation was people were like, where's the gameplay? Like what they didn't get it. Like they're like, I'm just walking. When am I gonna do something cool? But people realize now that the walking is the gameplay. One of my favorite critics of all time, Tim Rogers, used to work at Kotaku. Now he has Action Button reviews on YouTube. He called Death Stranding. He's like, if people think that Death Stranding is a walking simulator, Death Stranding is the Gran Turismo of walking simulators, because it just like it makes walking fun. Like it's just like Tomb Raider, but very different, very meditative, very like engrossing. Like it transports you to this other world, and also came out at the perfect time during COVID with like this mechanic of like connecting people and helping build pathways to make the game easier for each other. So like, I'm really excited about what I saw in the trailer. I'm really excited to see the new environments. I'm really excited to just see it taken to the next level. I really hope the story's better this time.
Yeah, I'm with you. I played that game and I could not tell you what that story was about. I like whenever I'm approaching anything Kojima related, I'm always kind of like, things are going to happen. They're going to be cool, and then I'll watch a YouTube deep dive after to figure out what the hell I just watched.
Yeah.
Because I find just the
I didn't understand any of that.
No, I have no clue what the hell I just saw. Like the moment to moment stuff, fine, but like the grand overarching stuff, I'm dumb. Okay, listen, like I'm not like some like indie movie auteur that I can like parse through shit. I can pick stuff up sometimes, but like when it comes to this stuff, like I even understand Kingdom Hearts better than I understand Kojima. But like everything that we're seeing in this trailer looks incredible. The graphics, the Decima engine is just put it in work. Like, this looks beautiful, straight up one of the best looking games of all time. And I just want to say,
best looking engine on PS5.
Full stop. Full stop. And I called it. Rice, you remember a couple weeks ago, I said June for Death Stranding 2. I booked that. My boy Ma Dong Sok. I called this for June. I can't wait. I think this is going to be a really nice summer game. Genuinely, I just feel it. Rice, did you play the original?
I did. Okay. I completed it as well. And so
those thoughts and feelings,
man, I hear you with the story stuff, man. I also did a deep dive after completing it, and at the end of the day, I just kind of accepted as well that this was just so on brand for Kojima to do. Yep. It's just like there's so many different abstract ideas, heavily layered, and where it does kind of meet for everybody. And when there is that realization that, okay, this is what we're trying to get across, or perhaps it's left a little bit open-ended for people to interpret, that's the point, right? It generated so much conversation, whether it was because like, oh man, I hated the shit out of walking, or it's just like, I loved the soundtrack of, if I was walking for a bit and then this music started playing, and then all of a sudden we're interacting with either humans or other things. It was just incredible to kind of immerse myself in a world where you are being incredibly intentional with things, like, using things that people put down in order to make it easier for you, or intentionally putting something down to make it easier for someone else. But there
Mm-hmm.
was this element of like not actually interacting with anything in front of you, but knowing that other people were still a part of this
You know,
world that
you know,
made it so interesting.
you know what it reminded me of a lot, and this kind of just dawned on me right now. But Journey, in that way, where it's just like Journey was a little more
Yes.
direct with actually seeing and interact with the other player, but you couldn't talk, you couldn't really say or do anything to them outside of just a couple things here and there. But like
Mhm.
that for me really kind of scratched that same feeling of like connection without direct connection. And just like I
Yeah.
remember, like, I spent like 3 hours building like a network of like um wires from like mountain to mountain, not being like people will use this later. I just made that trek all the way over here and it took me so long.
So
Like
long.
I can now like make the road easier for somebody else.
Yeah.
I am curious to ask both of you though, because I do think what this trailer is showing us is that what was one of the common criticisms that I think we started to see get levied in the kind of little expansion bit that we got. It does seem like we're gonna have much more combat this time around,
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
motorcycle stuff that we saw earlier on, to the shooting. Like this does seem to have more of a combat focus in a moment that we see towards the end of the trailer, which is like basically like a Megazord Pacific. What was that, Pacific Edge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he like takes control of what looks
The
like a
Pacific
Metal Gear.
Rim.
Pacific Rim. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was kept thinking
Yeah.
Pacific Drive, and I'm like, no, that's the video game. Um, how do we feel about that, Darren? Do you,
Yeah.
do you think we're going to see a lot more combat here? Do you think that's going to add or take away from the experience? Hit me with your
Oh, yeah.
thoughts.
I mean, that does look like what it's going to be. And if that is the case, I hope they've overhauled the combat, because that was also another weak element of the original game.
Yeah.
It was like fine, but when you got to the boss fights, that's when it really started to fall apart a little bit. Like you just were not mobile enough to be able to take out some of those things.
Clunky.
And maybe I missed it. I haven't been paying. Yeah, it's super clunky, exactly. And maybe I missed it from some previous trailers, but like I don't really see much of the like invisible enemies anymore. Like I thought the stealth stuff actually worked
Right.
fairly well. And it seems like we're not really doing that this time. We're just doing more basic combat. I'll be okay with it if they've overhauled this system, but if they've kept it the same, that could probably be a sticking point.
It's just interesting for me because I feel like Metal Gear 5 was probably one of the best feeling action stealth games, and I do agree with you that I feel like Death Stranding, maybe whether it was by design or otherwise, felt much more clunky in comparison. Bryce, where are you at on this?
Yeah, I mean, Death Stranding 1 for me was a lot of setup. It was this world, this new world, and also just introducing kind of a new way to play a game. Weird as fuck, but also like incredibly deep. And so I agree, because like the Death Stranding 2 has to give us either an overhaul or something new, a new experience, because there are so many characters shown here. I would hope that we are going to be able to invest in their development and the plot. And
Yes.
so rather than it being kind of this like disjointed, convoluted story that we're trying to piece together, I would hope that because now we have a little bit of groundwork in this world, that we can actually experience something a little more with a little more movement, if you will.
I'm going to pause the trailer right here for a second, because obviously this is a moment that has a lot of people talking. I mean, very clear whether it's an homage, whether it's something more that he'll be doing with this, but like
It's Snake.
clearly looks like Snake. Like without
Yeah.
a shadow of a doubt,
Yeah.
this looks like
100%.
Snake. Whether they're going to be whether like we know Kojima is working on some other like more hardcore stealth game, whether that's going to be in the Death Stranding universe or not, whether this is like some soft lead into that or otherwise, this has to be like very, very specifically chosen. And I don't know what they could possibly be doing with this. I don't know if it's anything. If like, do you think this is just a fun nod to Snake, or do you think that this could be something more than that? Darren, what do you think?
It's gotta be just like an homage. I think I'm gonna call him stranded Timu Snake. Like I think it's gonna be a situation like that where it's like it reminds me of Alan Wake 2, where Remedy doesn't actually have the rights anymore to Max Payne, but Alex Casey was very much just off-brand Max Payne. So I think this is definitely Kojima being like having his snake and eating it too, where he can have his own version of Snake, and he can like do what he wants, and the fans will get like into it. But like I don't really want to read into it any more than that. It's just like, yeah, it's Snake, but I won't say it's Snake because I'll be sued, but it's Snake.
Rice, where are you at?
I mean, I'm the same actually. I'm not looking into it that deep. I saw it and I was like, oh, that's a cool Easter egg, and kind of moved on. So if there is anything deeper to it, like
cool,
I might pee myself, but but I'm not really like anticipating too much.
Metal Gear Solid movie.
I mean, like I'm curious. I feel like for it to be so specific and to be like so intentional with it in his trailer, I feel like there might be something more to it. I don't think it's as far as like this is Snake. He's working with Konami in any sort of capacity. Again, like I don't think it's a bridge that far. But like I don't know whether they're going
to kind of to the guy who put himself in his own games and put his own glasses in his own games, and even gave like the brand of his glasses, and like Kojima's weird, man.
Chris in the chat, Snake Eater comes out this year too, so it's likely just an homage. You're probably right. Like it could be like a kill your idol type thing. You know what I mean? Like if he's going to be an antagonist, primary or not, or whether he's a secondary character, maybe there's something in there where like I think there will be some thematic links to his previous work, but I don't know if it's going to be like just he looks like Snake. I think there will be something more to it in terms of like Kojima's story, but I don't think it's going to be like this is Snake. This is half frozen Snake. This is Frosty Snake or something. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it's going to be that far.
There's probably already like a 25 to 30 minute like deep dive review on
I
the
don't doubt
itself.
It. New Rockstar's probably hard. Like already like 300 things that you missed, 300 Easter eggs that you missed in the Death Stranding trailer. And they'll just point at something like on the ground and be like, this foot shape is actually the exact same size as Quiet's feet from Metal Gear Solid Fan and Pain. Prepare thyselves.
It's like Kendrick Lamar fans, like really, it's just going deeper and deeper into the bars.
Oh shit, that's like a triple entendre right there.
It's like, shut up, man. They didn't even care about it.
Let's I mean I'll be there day one. I'm there day one.
Man.
I will be locked
excited.
in.
100%. Yeah.
There's no, and like I have to say, because what was the other? There's another one. Like PlayStation has just kind of heat up the next few months, because with March we're getting Forza. We know, I think Indiana Jones is still rumored. May we're getting Lost Soul Aside. June is now Death Stranding 2. I think September is that other Death Stranding Light. I'm blanking on the name. It looks very much like Death Stranding, but there's more combat. We just saw it.
Oh, Hell Let Loose.
Hell Let Loose. Thank you. That's September. So like we're starting to get not all first party, but at least exclusive or whatever cool stuff the next little while. So I feel like everybody's nervous about the Switch 2. I feel like everybody's nervous about GTA 6, but I'm liking what I'm seeing, and I hope Yote. I hope my prediction for Yote being like that fall game hits, because I'd be happy with the Death Stranding 2 and Ghost of Yote year. I'm just gonna say it like I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, same.
Let's roll into
good year.
It's a good year. It's a good year, especially given how on and off Sony's been the last few years. It's a good year.
The drought.
Let's roll on to our next story, because we got our first look at the DualSense wireless controller for The Last of Us Limited Edition. We got a new Last of Us controller coming on March 14th. And that's it. I'm gonna bring in a question right away here. Because our boy Chris Zazer, who's also in the chat right now, wrote in saying, is anyone planning on pre-ordering the limited edition Last of Us DualSense controller? Folks, can I pop off for a second here?
Go on.
This is
It's all
ugly
you,
as
man.
shit.
Go ahead.
This is ugly as shit. Listen, I'm sorry to the people that like this shit. This looks like that Fortnite controller, just black and white. What is it with their design ideology that's just like, let's just throw a bunch of shit all over this controller haphazardly and call it a day? Like, there's so much more they could be doing with this. I feel like, you know, like the Astrobot controller, perfect, minimalist, but like nailed the vibe of what that thing is. The 30th edition controller, beautiful, perfect. I feel like some of these controllers lately, and I'm going to bring Helldivers into it too, they just ain't it. Like, there's so much more you could be doing, so many more interesting designs that they could be doing with this stuff. And this looks like you took a black controller, spilled some white out on it, and then slapped a bunch of stickers on it. It's not offensive, but like, it's boring.
Give
I
me a
don't know.
cordyceps controller, bro.
Seriously, like, there's just
Give me a clicker.
Like do more than just here's a bunch of iconography from the game slapped onto a controller. I don't like it. So Chris, I won't be pre-ordering it because, like, again, I got the Astrobot one, I got the 30th anniversary one, but I just feel like I could have made this. And if I'm buying a premium controller, and like it'll be like my 8th DualSense at this point, I don't want to feel like I could make that. I'm shit at arts and crafts. I have no design sense whatsoever. I don't want to feel like I can make that, because that's what I feel like looking at this. Am I off base here, folks? Whoever wants to chime in, by all means.
No.
I agree. I actually agree. I don't first of all, I have given this franchise so much money.
Yeah,
so
legit.
much money. And so, like, give me a reason to give it more money, and this isn't it.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So I really can invest in this. This is not something that's hitting. Like, there could have been so many cool things you could have done with the controller. Unfortunately, this is just a collage of stickers.
Yeah, that's why I'm not about it. I'm not about it. Meh. Let's roll on to our next story, because let's stay in the world of The Last of Us, because what we did get that did make me excited is a new trailer for The Last of Us Part 2 coming to HBO this April, coming April 13th. We got a whole ass trailer, and folks, this looks incredible. I think this looks amazing. I'm obviously here day one. I'm locked in. I'm not ready emotionally. I'm not prepared for what this season is going to do to us.
No.
But I am locked
the
fuck in. How are we feeling about it?
I've actually booked therapy around this week that it's released. So I'm gonna need to process some things, because I'm gonna feel like I'm a part of this world, and rather just processing the real world and how that kind of relates.
Dan,
I'm curious what like, I don't know if I'm not gonna say spoilers, because I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like we all know what's happening at this point, but just in case, you know, people have seen, I'm not gonna say anything. But like, I'm very curious to see how quickly the show dials it to 11. Because it gets dialed to 11 quite early in the game. So I will be waiting in that first episode to see what happens. And also, the trailer shows already, like, it's showing some scenes that I don't remember from the game, like this scene that's playing right now with like the storming of the zombies attacking the town. Like, I don't remember anything like that happening. Maybe I just remember it wrong, but like, it seems like they're really expanding things with this season. So I'm excited for some new stuff, because we're probably gonna get it.
Yeah, they did say that they're bringing on like content from the game. We do know that they're going to be doing more. I wouldn't be surprised if that scene is an expanded one of like them trying to get back to the city. You know what I mean? Near the beginning. And without spoiling anything, Darren, I'm with you. I think, and the way that I'm going to talk about this is, I think our first major moment is going to come at the end of the first episode. I think they're going to come out swinging.
Really? Yeah, that makes sense.
Because of people involved, because of a way to I think they're like, in terms of like a strong narrative hook, I think the end of the first episode is where we're gonna end with that, in my opinion.
Really hook people.
Interesting.
Really
Now
hook people.
they are planned for how many more seasons?
So we don't know if it's 2 or
I don't think
3.
it's confirmed yet, right?
I don't think it's confirmed. They've said
Okay.
2. They've said 3. There's been kind of a back and forth. So I don't know if Last of Us Part 2 will take place over seasons 2 and 3, or possibly even seasons 2, 3, and 4. Because there is enough content in that game, especially if you're bringing in cut content, that you could make that into 3 seasons if you really wanted to.
Right. And in the game, we're kind of experiencing things
From different
parts
points
of the
of view.
timeline. Yeah. And I'd be interested to see how that all fleshes out and how it's told through the TV show. So, and like after watching the first season, there were just so many like tasteful additions, and they weren't like huge and major changes. They were subtle. So like I didn't even really notice some of those, you know, changes or additions until really diving into it, because it allowed people who experience the game to really experience the show as a completely different thing, but not completely different. This is familiar, but it was also new. So I'm really interested to see how they creatively take that on in the second season.
April is going to be a lot of Last of Us between Part 2 hitting on PC and Part 2 hitting on TV. So I'm just prepared to be depressed the entire month of April.
Yep, I'll have a guitar in my hand the whole month.
That therapy.
Yeah, we're gonna start strong with that Switch 2 stuff and then quickly go downhill.
Yeah.
Let's roll on to our next story, because we got a few more to rip through here. Let's go to this one next. Let's stay positive for now before we dial things back a little bit. Coming from us here over at Console Creatures, this one was by the Don himself, Bobby. Monster Hunter Wild sells through 8 million copies in 3 days. Capcom has revealed that Monster Hunter Wild sold 8 million units in just 3 days, surpassing any other release from them. It is officially Capcom's fastest selling game ever.
Crazy.
Monster Hunter World Series is the series leader in sales with 28.1 million units sold in the first 5 days. World sold an estimated 5 million in the first 2 weeks, and this risen to 6 million. Now Wild has equaled those numbers in 3 days. Baffling Wild numbers. I'm still playing this game. It is still absolutely fantastic. I know people on PC have been struggling much more. Get a console. That's it. That's all I'm going to say to you, PC players.
Wow,
yeah,
spicy.
That's right. And no, I hope all the PC performance stuff gets fixed soon. But like, what a monster of a game.
Crazy.
I
see what you did there.
I just never expected, like, for the last couple of years, these series that are getting these like milestone accomplishments, I never expected it to be Persona, to be a new IP in that with Metaphor, to be Yakuza, to be to be Monster Hunter, putting up these, like, even Split Fictions, putting up these like record numbers. Good for them. Good for them. Rice, Rice, is Monster Hunter calling you at all? I know you're a Souls person. So
yeah,
like,
man, absolutely. Listen, I on the topic of cooperative games, that is something that like I have always gravitated towards, especially anything that's PvE, and it's exciting. I haven't actually dove into it yet, just because of crazy life circumstances, but I'm excited to get into it, seriously. So it looks beautiful, and from what I hear from diehard fans in my community, my streamer community, it has been well received since launch. And so, any gripes are so minor that they don't really affect the overall experience for them. So that's really good to hear, and I'm really excited. I became a fan in Rise, and I understood
interesting
that Rise was a completely different experience from, let's say, World or anything before that. So I'm interested to see how my experience kind of evolves playing this kind of larger than life version of it. So
Wilds does feel like a good mix of World and Rise. Like, it feels like taking the best parts of both and kind of bringing them together. Darren, you played a bunch of Worlds. We played a bunch of Worlds together, didn't you?
I played a little bit. I played, by a little bit, I think I played like maybe 7-8 hours, like not very much at all.
Okay.
I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum, but like Monster Hunter doesn't really call to me. I think like No, it doesn't hit. There's a petty reason because I am a big Souls gamer as well. Like I love all the Souls games. And the control scheme is just close enough, but just different enough that it throws me off. And I have the capacity in myself, I think, to like the game if I was in the right mindset and in the right setting. Like I would love to go back to Rise or World if I have the time. I have so many 100-hour RPGs on my backlog that I still have to play. But what I will say is its success makes me incredibly happy because I think Capcom is one of those really good game developers out there that is still doing AAA gaming in like a very old school way, in a good way.
Yeah.
And they're making good games. And so Monsters Hunter's success, I think, really, does lift them up, and it lifts everyone up to try and like make more games like this.
100%. I like they're clearly doing it. They're doing it well. Like we talked about last week. Like they're the highest rated developer / publisher this year thus far, like by a country mile. So I'm happy for them. I'm stoked that this is doing well.
Yeah.
And let's keep this train a rolling to our next story, because this is very much in Matland. Coming from the PlayStation blog, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 launches July 11th on PS5 and PS4. The Birdman returns to the next remake of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, coming to PS5 and PS4 on July 11th and elsewhere as well, obviously.
I have questions for you about this one.
It's just looks so good. This classic and new parks. There's a new game plus 4K resolution. There's new skaters, tricks. Doom Guy is here. You can skate, you can skate as Doom Guy. I was like this close to buying the collector's edition that had the skate deck, and I was like, I can't justify spending that much on this right now, but it looks sick. I'm very, 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 very excited. Tony Hawk was such like a fundamental part of my growing up childhood gaming experience, and 3 and 4 I think are the ones that I remember the least. So I'm excited to kind of dive back into this in the modern day.
Well, I have a question for you if you don't mind me asking you, because this is where Dark Cloud Darren rears his ugly head, because the controversy around this release is that they have cut the campaign mode from Tony Hawk 4.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about that?
I do think that sucks. Because again, like I play these games. I'm not the kind of person that just like will go in there and like grind tricks for hours trying to just like run up a high score, which is essentially what it turns the 4th game into. Like I need that kind of like, I need that campaign. I need that kind of, focal point. I need that guidance for me to know what it is that I'm doing. So I do think that sucks. And I do think that kind of takes away from it being like a full experience, which is what I think 1 and 2 were. I am disappointed that it's not going to be there. Is it going to keep me? Is it going to stop me from playing it? No, but like I do wish I do wish it was there.
Yeah. How much of a difference do you think it will make?
What do you mean?
Not having,
like, I haven't played the game, so I don't know. Like, not having, because like the campaign, it's not like they've removed single player. Like, as far as I'm aware, they've just taken how Tony Hawk's like 1, 2, and 3 have their 2-minute mode, and they've just ported that to Tony Hawk 4. So like,
so you're still gonna.
Like, how big of a difference do you think it's gonna make?
I think for anybody, okay, here's the benefit of what this remaster is in the year 2025. Anybody who hasn't played the original is not going to know what they're missing, because it's going to functionally be similar to the remasters of 1 and 2 and to what 3 is. Because like you said, I'm pretty sure from what I understand, all the levels of 4 are going to be there. They're going to you're still going to have like the challenges for the level, but you're going to be missing the campaign. The campaign was fun. It was good. But for anybody who only knows Tony Hawk through these remasters, you're not going to be looking for anything else, because it's going to be functionally similar to what was there to what's there now.
Sure.
Right? Like I don't think it will be missed by new players, because 4 is going to feel like 3, which felt like 2, which felt like 1 into their remasters. For players who played the originals, it sucks that it's not there. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if it's going to be a monumental. It's not going to be a difference for new players, but for anybody coming back to these games, like you're going to miss it.
Yeah. It's not enough of a deterrent to not play the remaster, because I think we've mentioned this before, but a big seller right now is nostalgia. And I think that's enough to hook people in. That said, personally, I think it sucks because my brain requires some sort of structure in order to actually kind of enjoy the whole experience. Like you said, like if I'm just like, I'll spend 5 minutes doing some tricks and maybe competing with someone and try to get a score higher than them. But like, I really enjoyed collecting, all of the things around a map, and the challenges that you would have to do. I would do them over and over and over again because it did give me some structure within the game. So I think that's ass. But am I not gonna play it? Who am I kidding, bro? Like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna pick this up.
Day one, I'm gonna go straight out of like walking on mountains and dust raining to skating in abandoned water parks.
Facts.
I'm gonna skate from one place straight into skating.
Give me a
into another.
skateboard.
Give me a skateboard. Kojima, don't be a coward. Give me a skateboard.
Facts.
Let's
give me God mode.
Give me God mode. Please give me God mode. Darren, hold on. I'm gonna ask you a quick question. As the Ultra Doom fan that you are, does skating as Doomslayer do anything for you in terms of actually going towards this game?
No.
All right, next story. Let's go. Now we're gonna get into some shadier waters here, kind of coming from us over here at Console Creatures, but this was one written by Bobby. Forza Horizon 5 launches for PS5 on April 29th. This is great. This is exciting. People are stoked. I know Court is very excited. I am excited. Forza Horizon, great game, sir. Very good. The controversy around this is that we're going to need to sign into a Microsoft account to play. I don't understand why this is a story, because all of the Xbox games so far on PlayStation have required you to do the same. Sea of Thieves required you to sign into a Microsoft account to be able to play it. I think Pentiment was the only one that didn't make you, but like any of these Microsoft Xbox games that are coming over require you to do it. This isn't new. I don't know why this is making headlines now, because this is such a non-starter. So just, for people who might be pissed, why? This is nothing new. We've already had to do this.
We've already been pissed about it. A lot of us are over it.
Yeah. Just hop into your car and drive.
Well, people love being second pissed.
Yeah, it's
true. People like being second pissed, and then third pissed, and then fourth pissed. They just like all of the pissed.
It's true.
People like to do it.
It's true.
Yeah.
I
don't like accounts either, but like it is.
That's the current state.
It's not new.
Yeah.
It's
the state of the industry right now. That's all it is. Roll with it. Like, come on. You can play Forza Horizon on your PS5. Get over it.
Absolutely.
A couple more stories to round things out. Sony lays off unknown number of workers at PlayStation Visual Arts Studios. This is coming from IGN, written by Rebecca Valentine, one of the GOATs. Sony has laid off an unknown number of individuals from its San Diego-based visual arts studio, as well as PlayStation Studios Malaysia, according to a Kotaku report and testimonies from former employees on LinkedIn. Per Kotaku, staff were informed earlier this week that March 7th would be their last day, and included developers who had contributed to a number of different projects, such as a recent canceled live service game at Bend Studio. Visual Arts is an art and technical support studio that has worked with PlayStation's other first-party studios, most notably the recent Last of Us Part 1 and 2 remasters. This sucks. Like, this is obviously a victim of PlayStation completely, gutting their live service, efforts. And, I don't think we need to go that deep into this. It's just, I hope all the developers land on your feet. This is awful that in this day and age, we're still hearing about layoffs and studio closures as rapidly as we are.
And unfortunately, we're going to keep hearing that.
Yep.
It's the trend. And yeah, it is really sad. Yeah, I guess you're right. We should just land on the fact that we hope that everyone that was affected is somehow given some other opportunity that's just kick ass.
Yep. One last story before we round out some questions. I wanted to talk about this, especially once Darren told me that he was able to come on. Because this is something that we have talked about back and forth, and it's something that I think we have passionate arguments about. Coming from GameSpot, GTA 6 costing $100 could reward players too, analysts argue. Wedbush Securities with Michael Pachter believes bundling the new game with GTA Online currency can push the price into new territory. This is written by Evan Campbell. Rockstar hasn't even released a second trailer yet for GTA 6, but that isn't stopping analysts from again predicting that the highly anticipated game should retail for at least $100 US. This time, Wedbush Securities, alongside well-known analyst Michael Pachter, are arguing this premium price point could benefit players as well by bundling in GTA Online currency. In a Wedbush industry note, a prediction is made that Take-Two will sell GTA 6 at a previously unheard of price point. The game company, quote unquote, can offer consumers an incentive to pay $100 or more per unit by rewarding them with a large amount of in-game currency to be spent in GTA Online. Right, Pachter, Alicia Reese, and Cade Barr. What's intriguing about this proposal is the fact that it's unknown what happens with GTA Online once GTA 6 launches. Last month, Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick suggested that GTA Online could continue with GTA 6's release, but theoretically alluded to it as a quote-unquote legacy title. Here's my question. Do you think that there is a possibility that this will outright just base game is going to run for 100 UST and like have to come with thing? Because to me, like, we already have games costing that much for like their premium edition or for your deluxe edition that bundles shit in, but like, could this just be it? Everybody's paying 100 USD, get fucked hell or high water. Darren, as someone who has a lot of feelings about price points on video games, rightfully so, hit me.
My blood pressure is high enough as it is. Okay, like I don't need more stress about this. What's interesting about this one, and I don't normally agree with Michael Pachter on a lot of things, but the difference here, because I also didn't actually believe, and Matt, you know this, I didn't think that GTA 6 was going to release at $100, and we still don't know for the record. But what makes this more of a possibility that I think I have to accept is I could see them making it $100 US if it came with currency, and I think that's how they would sell it. It's like, it's $100 because you get all this currency, and you can spend it on online mode. And so I do actually think it's an unfortunate probability that it might actually happen this time. And also hard to talk about right after talking about a story of people getting laid off because like games are this expensive to make. And maybe $100 US is what they should actually cost, but I don't trust the games industry to properly regulate that in an ethical way where they're like, because it's like, oh, if we make $100, we won't have to do all this microtransaction stuff. But all three of us know that if they sold it at $100, we're still going to get all these microtransactions. We're still going to get these cash shops.
100%.
The EA sports games are still going to have tons of gambling in them. But I also think that there is an upper limit that people are willing to pay for their video games, and we are dangerously getting close to it. Like, I tell you right now, I know a lot of people will buy GTA 6 if it's $100 US because they will justify it if it comes with a bunch of, like, what do they call it? Shark cards or
something.
Whatever. Like
yeah, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah. But they're going to, a lot of people will buy it, but that's not going to work for every game. And I will not be buying it. I will be waiting for it to go on sale. I will not be there day one for that game if it costs $100.
And what I think is interesting is I think you're spot on that. I think all the bad actors are going to look at that price point and think they can do it too, and we're going to see an all tides rise kind of situation where a lot of other games who don't deserve to run that price will run that price. If this is like a deluxe edition or a premium edition that comes bundled with this currency, I think that's fine. What I hope this isn't this. I hope this isn't just the base price, because I won't play GTA Online. I don't give a shit how much currency you're giving me. Same. And the thing is if this is just the flat price structure, it's $100, you get this currency, that inherently devalues the currency that you're getting.
Yeah.
Because that means if all of us if GTA 6 comes out and I were to buy an $80 version that just comes with the game, Rice buys the $80 version, and Darren were to spend the $100 to get the things, yes, he can get the leg up that currency would provide you playing online. If all of us have that currency, guess what? We all get the same leg up to start in the game, and then what's the point?
Yep.
We got to buy more.
We got to buy more. Rice, where you at?
That sucks. Yeah, I agree. I think Derek said it all so eloquently. But yeah, like there is this huge like disconnect between consumer and industry right now. And if you're aware enough about the happenings and just how business trends go, it's pretty disheartening. It's pretty disheartening. And so there is I'm with Darren on this. Like I think that I actively try to wait for things to go on sale if it's not something that I am like really jonesing to play and like really excited.
I'm buying fewer games than I did 5 years ago.
Yeah, totally. And you know, the memes are out there like, listen, we'll get so many things before GTA 6. And so what's waiting a few more months to get a sale? Man, I need to buy lettuce. Yeah, and lettuce is expensive.
Who needs lettuce when you have shark points? Okay, to your online life.
Bro. I have mouths to feed in this household. So
buy that digital lettuce.
Get that digital lettuce.
So yeah, man, it sucks. It really does suck. But you know that it is what it is, and we'll see how that affects the culture moving forward, and if others, you know, jump on this train.
Yeah, we'll find out. I mean, we'll go into this more once we actually know anything more about GTA 6 and if it's actually coming out this year. We're not really going to talk about this. I just wanted to shut this out before we go into questions because Bobby has an awesome Adamfall preview up on the site for anybody who's curious. He has a bunch of gameplay as well. This game is looking pretty cool. The previews went live in the last couple of days, so if you're curious, launching at the end of the month, go check out Bobby's preview. A lot of really cool stuff there. Let's hop into some questions, folks. We're going to kick things off with Black Wyber, who writes in. Thanks for writing in, my friend. What is your favorite game that you've played this year so far? Not limited to release this year. So it doesn't have to be a release this year, but what is your favorite game that you've played this year thus far?
Ooh.
What do you think?
You're going to give me a second here, man.
I have a list of games that I keep on my phone of the games I play this year.
I'm looking right now.
I'm like that. I want to say Tunic, but I actually will not say that because this will be like the third time I've played Tunic, so I don't think that really counts. But in terms of games I played for the first time this year, actually on the topic of Rockstar, I played Red Dead Redemption 2 for the very first time this year. And this is what makes it so hard because, like, you know, I always thought that Rockstar could be a little bit overhyped, but they're not. Like, Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the best written, best voice acted games I have ever played.
Tell them.
It is an incredible video game. I felt like a gosh darn cowboy. I was on my horse. I was riding my girl. You all right, girl?
Yeah, all right, girl.
And all right. Oh, girl.
Oh, girl. You're all right.
And I was just like,
I freaking love it.
I was just I was in it. Like, I felt people talk about immersion. I was never, I don't remember the last time I was as immersed as just like walking around camp when things started going south. And having people talk to me and seeing people like not eating properly and getting at each other's throats, like it's a living, breathing world. Like nobody does open world games like Rockstar. And then also, sorry, very, very quick shout out because I'm in my boomer phase when it comes to video games, and I played the Soul Reaver remaster, and Soul Reaver 1 is a game I never played in my life, and I think it holds up. And I really, really hope they make a new Soul Reaver game. It was just so atmospheric, so moody, so gorgeous and gothic and dark, and I loved getting lost in that world. It's a PS1 game with no loading times. Like, I don't know how they did it. They had the whole
Dang.
world there without loading. Incredible. I hope they make it. I hope they make a new one. I sure hope they don't make it like Soul Reaver 2, because the story was good, but holy crap, did that game suck in comparison to Soul Reaver 1.
Right? What about you?
Yeah, man, I have an easy answer for this because a lot of my like I guess relaxing and just kind of escapism video game experiences are with my son. And my son and I have been just grinding Astrobot. And
Yeah.
Astrobot is just like, it's
Nice.
because it's kept giving us more and more and more.
Mm,
I keep coming back to it, and I just love it so much. It's so charming. It's just the experience every time is super fun, and we find ourselves laughing and making memories together. So like, I liken that experience to when I was a child playing Mario with my siblings. I will remember those things forever. So that's why that gets the top spot for me, man. Like Astrobot for sure.
Ratatouille moment, or like
Yeah,
the
man.
critic eating the ratatouille,
Yes.
like mind blown back to what it was like to be a
Circle.
kid. Astrobot.
Absolutely.
my
Absolutely.
mind went to Rice's son, like on top of his head, grabbing his hair to get Rice to move the controller around. That's
He does that.
you said.
I wish I could get a video. Oh my gosh, he does
God.
that so much.
That's where my mind went. You said Ratatouille. I just
So
pictured
cute.
your boy on your head. I think for me, I think like this year has already been huge for me. Like Pirate Yakuza was a ton of fun. Monster Hunter Wilds is incredible. Split Fiction has, like, I'm not finished it yet, so I'm not ready to call it at the top spot yet. Citizen Sleeper 2, I think sits in my top spot right now. I love that game so much.
Nice.
No other game has made me as stressed as that one has this year thus far. But what I will say is a game I can't talk about yet might be tied for that first place right now. So stay tuned for that on the site soon.
Very interesting.
Stay tuned.
And one more question coming from Edward Varnell from the Boss Fight Network at Elite Block Agent on Bluesky.
Ooh.
Says, "Hey everyone, sorry it's been a while. It's all good, my dude. Life's been hectic. My question for you all is, with the tariff situation going on, and trust me, we hate it too, and that it's happening. Do you think any American indie or third-party titles should not be purchased or played? I think this is an incredibly difficult question that comes
That's
down
so hard.
to your personal thing.
Yeah.
In my opinion, to give you guys a second to think, I think that it comes down to doing your homework. There are still some American companies like Costco, like Ben & Jerry's, that I still don't mind supporting because I know that they're in the right places. I know that they're doing the right things. Costco, of course, is fighting back vehemently for its DEI policies, which it stands by. Ben & Jerry's literally uses their TikTok account to shout out different protests and stuff going on. These are American companies, yes, but they are doing the right thing. Like you said, Ed, there's so many people in the States that don't want any of what's going on to be happening. And I think that being intelligent about what you're doing and being intelligent with your wallet and where you're choosing to spend your money, if you're blackout entirely, I think that's totally understandable. And that's anybody's choice to make. For myself, I am trying to go the extra mile to make sure, what company is it that I'm playing this game from? Where do their beliefs lie? It's hard now. I use a Google phone. Google obviously donated money. I use Spotify. Spotify, of course, donated money. It's hard not to be involved in some way, shape, or form. But I think what you need to do is just be intelligent with where you're choosing to put your money and the companies that you're choosing to support. I don't think a blanket thing is the right answer, especially for indie developers who, these sales might make or break their studio in an industry, as we've already spoken about, layoffs and people losing their jobs. Just do your homework and be aware of who and what it is that you're supporting, because I think that is the most anybody could do right now. And again, to the people who are on entire blackout, kudos to you. That is an incredible thing to do. But that's where I'm at personally. Rice, and how do you feel?
Yeah, I would agree, man. You said it all right there. And yeah, do your homework. Make sure that you're informed on all of these things, right? And this is not limited to the gaming industry. This is something that my wife and I like talk about often, and what do we purchase, what do we invest our money into, and that requires some work, you guys. And like we we constantly turn a blind eye towards things for the sake of convenience, and that's just the truth of us as humans in our nature. So that said, I don't think that anybody should be faulted or, you know, or red flagged because they decide on one thing or another. We all pick and choose. This is the statement that I've been using a lot in a lot of conversations. And not, we're not going to get too deep into that, but we all pick and choose, truly. And so whatever that means for your household, your personal beliefs, and whatever, pick and choose, but pick and choose as an informed individual.
Mm-hmm. Darren, any thoughts?
Yeah. Well, like well said to you both. That like, yeah, incredibly well said. I'll be quick because you both pretty much said like exactly what I'm thinking too. Do your homework and like make your own choices, whatever feels right for you. What I will say is this whole tariff situation is a conflict between governments. It's not a conflict between people. Yeah. And I want both American and Canadian people to support each other because it's people that will really suffer from this. So like, especially with indie games, like that's people's livelihood. And like everyone's just trying to get by. So like, personally, I don't see anything wrong with supporting like an indie studio. Like we're all just, it's all trying to just support each other. So like, yeah, do your homework, make your own choices, but like remember that people are not the problem.
Well said.
Folks, I know we're a little bit past time, but do you both have a few more minutes for one quick game before we call it here?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
I couldn't not bring this back. Rice, we played a game recently. And I want you to know now that the game we're about to play, you're going up against its creator.
Oh,
because
shit.
I have prepared a round of lover or fighter.
No.
This is Darren. Darren is the creator of Lover or Fighter. He came up with this way back in the day on the Burnout Brighter podcast, and it's still something I bring back once in a while. Darren, we just played this a couple months ago. I brought it back for the first time here. Rice won that. Rice nailed it. So as our current champion, I had to put him against the creator, the originator of Lover or Fighter. I've got five. So
we're gonna game myself. This is crazy.
Yeah.
All
so
right, let's do it.
We're gonna run through five. I'm going to take from each of you. For anybody who's unaware, I'm going to name five. I'm going to give five people five names, and the panelists here, the contestants, will have to tell me whether this is a fighting game character or an adult film star. Are you both prepared?
I guess so.
Okay.
I'm so ready.
We're gonna go back and forth. We're gonna alternate top spot here. Rice, I'm gonna start with you. Okay. As our sitting champion. Your first character is Edge. Is Edge a lover or a fighter?
Man. I'm gonna say fighter. I'm gonna say fighter.
Okay.
As a lover of fighting games, I have no idea if that is even in a fighting game.
Darren, is Edge a lover or a fighter?
Yeah. I don't know if this is a game that I want to do really good at or really bad at. I think this is a fighting game character.
Okay. Both saying fighter on the first one. Mm-hmm. Our next person is Luna Star. Is Luna Star a lover or a fighter? Darren, it's to you first this time.
My mind is going to like Luna Snow from Marvel Rivals, so I'm in a video gamey vibe on this one. I'm gonna say fighter as well.
Okay, Rice.
I am
Luna Star.
I am going to pick lover. Just switch things up here.
Ooh. We got our first split pick.
Paths divide.
Mm-hmm.
Rice, we're coming back to you on top spot here for Zebedee Colt. Zebedee Colt.
You know what? I'm gonna say fighter.
Okay. Darren, Zebedee Colt, lover or fighter?
Lover.
Okay. Our next character, person, lover, fighter, is Bowman Delgado. Bowman Delgado. And that is
What are these names?
Who's top right now? Rice went, then Darren went, then Rice went. So Darren.
It's me. What's one more time?
Bowman Delgado.
Lover.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same.
Okay.
Lover.
Our final character, lover, fighter. is General Ram.
I don't know what's funnier, the Ram part or the general part.
General Ram.
He's a decorated officer
Rice.
ramming.
Bring it home.
I'm gonna say lover.
Okay.
Oh man.
Darren, General Ram.
He's a fighter. He's fighting for my heart.
Okay.
General Ram.
Here we go.
General Ram.
Edge was our first one.
Okay.
You both said Edge was a fighter. You were both correct. Edge is a fighter from a fighting game called Rival Schools.
Okay.
Nice.
Our next deep cut. Our next one was Luna Star. Luna Star. Rice, you said was a lover. Jeremy said was a fighter. Rice, you were correct. Luna Star is an adult film actress.
Okay.
Zebedee Colt. Rice, you said was a fighter. Darren said was a lover. Zebedee Colt was also an adult film actor. So Darren takes that point. We're currently tied, heading into point 4. Bowman Delgado, you both said was a lover. You both were incorrect because Bowman Delgado was another fighter from Rival Schools.
Got it.
And our final one, General Ram. Rice, you said was a lover. Darren said was a fighter. Darren, you were right because it's spelled General Raam, who is a fighter from Killer Instincts. Darren is our new lover or fighter championing, edging out Rice by 1 point.
I honestly, even if I lost, this is an honor. This is an honor. Although I am mad at myself because I know Killer Instinct. So that's
no. Thank you so much for this, Matt. This was a lovely surprise.
I love that.
I couldn't not bring it back for this episode for our reigning champion to go up against the creator of the game himself.
Jeez,
Darren taking his one and only time ever actually playing this game, taking a win. Be that because he's done lots of extensive research for this game in the past across however you want to take that.
The only reason why I won last time was I actually was familiar with one of the adult stars.
Close personal friend.
Yep, exactly. We text.
That brings us to the end of the episode, folks. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Rice, my boy, where can people find you on this World Wide Web of ours?
Absolutely. I'm on the Linktree, Rice, BOYYY TV. Have some plans for some streams where I'll be collaborating with some folks. So be on the lookout. Also follow Linktree / We Are Minnow, WEAREMYNNO. And we got some stuff cooking.
There's stuff cooking. I'm Rice Boy. There's stuff kicking at Minnow. Go check out both places. Darren, anything you want to plug?
No, and you'll never find me. No, thank you for having me, Matt.
It would have been really cool if you smoke bombed in that exact moment and just disappeared. You know what I mean? Darren, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. It was awesome having you. We'll definitely have you back again in the future. It was awesome to reunite in podcast form. Not like I didn't talk to you literally yesterday. That brings us to the end of this week's show, folks. Everybody stay well, stay informed, take care of one another. All we got is each other. We'll see you next week.
Right.
Peace.